And now we're ready to hear from Ms. Garcia as what the MEDI Community Resource Center has to say on this subject. Ms. Garcia?
And Reverend Miller, it's such a sensitive subject, and
Yes.
I appreciate everything that Brother Ellis shared with us, because he was preaching to us, because he shared factual information, things that we don't really know, and now we do know. So the idea is that if we know better, we'll do better. And I believe, just from my personal perspective, is that we have to do something. And right now, the vaccine is an option for us. And I think in terms of our community, we need to better understand what our options are beyond that. And from everything that I did in terms of my research, which is what Glenn suggested that we do, is that the vaccine has a better chance of protecting you from the deadly aspect of this virus. And that's the knowing and the knowledge that I approached when I made the decision, as well as our other family members. So, we're monitoring this very closely. I am not a medical doctor, but I do know that when there are some preventive measures that are accessible and available to you, then you have to weigh the options and make that decision. So I want our listeners and our community to know that, I don't think that there's a targeted effort to do anything that's detrimental to us, but the idea is that we have to look at this in the form of what protection it provides for us. So beyond the vaccine, a lot of people think like once I take the vaccine, that's it. But that's not it, because we still have to follow those protocols and measures that are in place. So I think we have to continue to educate, to have conversations like this, to bring to the table those experts that can give us accurate, valid, and research-oriented advice. Sometimes you hear things on the street, the barbershop talk, everything, but there's some validity to what is shared in those environments, but we have to sift through it to make sure that we're getting the right information that can help us. So that is our premise, to share that information.
Okay, Brother Terry Bates?
Well, I think that people, what's on the table is a couple of things. One is peace of mind. The vaccine has a role in what's people's peace of mind, because you have a lot of people that are afraid to get their mail from out of their mailbox, and there's no one around because of what they've heard, what the news media and other sources have said, prior administrations and current administrations. I mean, there's a lot of information out there, and it ebbs and flows. So a lot of people, they want to trust something or someone. So I think the vaccine plays in the peace of mind. But then by the same token, like Glenn said, if we would just do some practical things,
right,
we have peace of mind. Wear a mask everywhere, and be diligent. But let's be honest, people are rebelling because they want freedom.
Right.
Simple as plain as that. But I think when it all boils down, if we can get to the big words, herd immunity, by getting vaccine out there, getting enough people, millions upon millions have had COVID-19, but we're running a race, and if you've ever been a track runner, them last couple of laps test you more than the first couple of laps.
Okay.
And if you're not disciplined, if you're not prepared to finish strong, then you're gonna end up right back where you started. And
okay.
Lord knows that I don't want that.
Not at all.
This is the second summer. I want to go to the beach one day.
Okay.
May not put my bikini on, but I want to go.
Well, maybe we do want to be
too much information.
But I think trust is trust. It's peace of mind, and Lord knows we have every valid reason to not trust a whole lot in this country in many areas. But I think it was touched on. I think it really is time for the churches, rural and in urban communities, to really jump in from a vaccination standpoint, and maybe an initiative to get every church vaccine and get their membership vaccinated, so folks can once again go to places that they do trust.
Okay.
And get to that peace of mind.
Well, I want to thank each one of you tonight for being on Bounce Around Charleston. Mr. Ellis, Garcia, Terry, for being here tonight talking about this pandemic and celebrating your 1-year anniversary with the collaboration of the MEDI Resource Center along with WJNI, the radio station that I do listen to for my gospel music.
That's all right.
And
Yes.
I think it's wonderful. And we thank you all for doing this. But now, give us the MEDI times again that you all come on.
Every Monday morning, 9:35 to about 9:55. And sometimes we might stretch our way to the top of the hour, but it's time well spent. So nobody's watching the clock that tight. But it's that 20 minutes of information every Monday morning.
So Reverend Miller, if I may add one other thing as well, and we're fortunate to have that window, and I do want to thank Terry for just providing this opportunity for us to have that voice and reach into the community. But once we complete the broadcast on that morning, all of the shows are archived on our website. So we have tremendous information that we would like for your listeners and WJNI listeners to also go back to be able to share. So they will see that Mr. Ellis was not only our first guest, but he also returned in October, and he will be our guest this coming Monday morning to share additional insights that is specific to our community. So we appreciate this time as well.
Okay, well, we would like to thank all of our guests for joining us on Bounce Around Charleston. If you would like to be a guest or you have an event, email us at bouncearound@live5news.com. And don't forget to join our fan pages and join us next week for another Bounce Around Charleston.